What's going on, 5-9 Gaming Crew? Lethal One up here to introduce to you guys a brand new series called the 5-9 Gaming Weekly News Wrap-Up. Work in progress title, maybe we can change it later down the road. But essentially, we're going to go ahead and just look back at the week and see, you know, what kind of news announcements that dropped in the video game world and talk about them here that we just didn't cover in a standalone video that we're just kind of waiting to do at the end of the week and kind of just go over all together. You might get, you know, just one person like me today, but maybe some days we'll have more than one other person here. Maybe two, maybe three, maybe four, maybe we'll have a whole squad ready, but today it would just be me. But I'm excited. We have 4 pieces of news to talk about on the agenda today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it with the first one. According to Hideko Nishino from the PlayStation blog, next-gen PlayStation VR controller details are in. So let me go ahead and read a bunch of details that came in with the controllers. The controllers will feature a unique design which takes an orb shape that allows you to hold the controller naturally while playing with a high degree of freedom. Each VR controller includes an adaptive trigger button that adds palpable tension when pressed, similar to what's found in the DualSense controller. The new controller will have haptic feedback optimized for its form factor, making every sensation in the game world more impactful, textured, and nuanced. When traversing through rocky desert or trading blows in melee combat, you'll feel the difference. Now, the controller can detect your fingers without any pressing in the areas where you place your thumb, index, and middle fingers. This enables you to make more natural gestures with your hands during gameplay. The VR controller is tracked by the new VR headset through a tracking ring across the bottom of the controller. The left controller contains one analog stick, a triangle button, a square button, and a grip button, an L1 and an L2, and a create button. The right controller contains one analog stick, the X button, circle button, a grip button, an R1 and an R2, and an options button. Now, the grip button is simply going to be used to pick up objects in game as one example. That's a lot. That's a lot of details. So I think naturally, there's always a question of, whoa, when is this coming out? Because it sounds like it's coming out a lot sooner than I think a lot of us are anticipating. And it's not just that. You guys will see as well. There's images already. They already have, you know, fully rendered, just done images of the actual controller design. So there's a good chance this can come out much sooner than a lot of us were thinking. I think when we just got the announcement of the actual VR headset not too long ago, we were thinking a couple years down the line, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, who knows? This kind of gives the impression that, hey, maybe we can see a release maybe next year. Because again, there's lots of details. There's already, you can see the controller design. So there's a good chance maybe we get this sometime next year. That would be absolutely epic and wild. And I think another question is, I think after we get something like this, which is sounds like it's gonna be more up to date, right, with some of the more current VR systems out there. Will people miss the PlayStation Move and miss using those accessories, the wands we call it? I don't think so, but I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see how this new PlayStation VR system is going to work out. So it's really cool. Jumping into news story number 2, Square Enix presents Spring 2021 Digital Media Event. Now, there was 2 big games that got announced. Let's go ahead and talk about 2 of them. Life is Strange True Colors was announced, releasing on all platforms, even Stadia, with a tease of story about a new protagonist, Alex Chen, as she returns to Haven Springs to discover the secrets behind her brother's death, using her strange psychic powers of empathy to change fate and change lives. Project Athia also got announced. Some more light got shed onto that game. Essentially, he's going ahead and now being called Forspoken, which is a new narrative-driven adventure set in a beautiful yet cruel world. You play as Frey Holland, an ordinary young woman who must harness her magical abilities to survive in the fantastical yet dangerous land of Athia, releasing on PS5 and PC. Now, there were some other announcements in the event that went ahead and included the following. Updates to several games like Marvel's Avengers new modes, a character trailer announcement for Black Panther, gameplay footage of Hawkeye. They had trailers for Balan Wonderland. They had an announcement of Life is Strange 1 remaster with the DLC included, and then a new Just Cause mobile game, a Hitman Sniper Assassins update, and a Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor trilogy. That's a lot of news. I think a lot of people are excited for the Life is Strange game. I think that's been on a lot of people's radar, so it looks great as always. But I see a lot of people talking about Forspoken. Again, this was previously announced as Project Athia, and I think a lot of people they want more details about this game, so it's really getting out there on the internet, and I think a lot of us are like, what is this game going to be about? More importantly, will this be a timed exclusive? What's going on? Because, you know, I think after the whole Bethesda news with Xbox, you know, there's some people who might be on the PlayStation side more about, man, what's going on with these RPGs, you know, that's gonna, you know, that might be a factor of, oh man, like maybe I have to go get an Xbox to get more into these RPGs because people are fans of Bethesda. And I think with this news, another Square Enix, you know, RPG, at least for now, we'll say timed exclusive because we don't have any details. I mean, it doesn't specify that at all. For all we know, it's just a straight up exclusive again. But a lot of people are wondering, there was the Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's a Final Fantasy 16, and now we have Forspoken. That's a lot of RPGs from Square Enix that are just going to be on PlayStation. So the question is, you know, how long will this be an exclusive, or you know, is it timed, or whatever the case may be? People are looking forward to it. More story, it'll be awesome to learn about later on. It looks really good. And then the other question is, Square Enix, what are you guys doing? You have a present for spring 2021. Can we see like a winter 2021, a summer 2021, a fall 2021? What's gonna happen? Should we be looking forward to E3 anymore with all these different, you know, these gaming companies hosting their own digital events, and people are tuning in, and it's almost as if where do we see E3 for this year if it does happen? Which, if I'm not mistaken, they did announce a digital event, so maybe some things get announced there and the rest goes on to these own companies' digital media events. Who knows? But the question remains, will we see more of stuff like this? Because this was great. And it didn't even show too much of, like, you know, some of their more mainline series, like, for example, Final Fantasy 16 development. But this is a great way to kind of look at the other games that they're also offering. Jumping into now, story number 3. Outriders is coming to Xbox Game Pass day 1. Now, this comes from the Xbox Wire from Megan Spur. This is crazy. Starting April 1st, and no, this isn't an April Fool's joke, Xbox Game Pass for console and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members will have access to playing Outriders right at launch. And if you guys don't know, there's also a demo available. You guys can play that too. Those not familiar with Outriders, it's a single player or co-op with up to 2 friends, a third-person RPG shooter that also supports cross-play, so you can play with your games or play with your friends on other platforms. Now, Game Pass is getting a day 1 third-party game. This is a move that we're kind of seeing from, like, even PlayStation doing it with, I think it was the Oddworld Soul Legacy, I believe it was. You know, that's not a first-party game, but they're gonna have the game be also on PlayStation Plus. So you can get it right away, right when it launches. So it's interesting to see Game Pass also do this too now with a big game like Outriders. So the question is, can we start seeing, between Xbox and PlayStation, start getting these third-party games like day 1 if you have PlayStation Plus or if you have Game Pass? For Game Pass, this is a great move to help sell Game Pass even more because, as you guys know, Game Pass is one of the greatest deals right now in gaming. So there's tons of questions on that. And more importantly, I think there's another big question of, if you look into Outriders, the game looks super similar to kind of Destiny. So will there be competition? What will they do to distinguish themselves, right? Outriders from Square Enix, to distinguish themselves from Destiny. And I think that's going to be a big one, as Destiny right now has a big fan base. So that's definitely going to be interesting. I think a lot of people want to see that development and see where that goes. Now, jumping into story number 4, which is actually also going to be our final story, we have Jade Raymond introduces Haven, a new Montreal-based game development studio working on an original IP for PlayStation. This comes from herself from the PlayStation blog. All right, Raymond officially announces Haven, an independent studio where many of the talented game developers she has worked with over the years are coming together, and they're going to do what they are passionate about, which is making video games. They want to create worlds where players can escape, have fun, express themselves, and find community. She ends with saying in the PlayStation blog post that because we believe in the power of games to bring joy to people's lives, and Sony does too, their commitment to excellence is unmatched, and it's why we couldn't be happier for their backing and their support. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Jade Raymond, she helped develop games like the Assassin's Creed franchise, specifically Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Unity, and Watch Dogs, the original one. She was also previously the head of Google Studio Stadia Games and Entertainment Division. But as you guys all know, recently what happened was Google kind of just shut down their first-party studios. And, some of us here are saying for maybe obvious reasons, who knows? But eventually that just led Jade to where she's at now, creating the new studio called Haven. So something we looked at this and was like, man, could this be something where PlayStation, starts, funding, Haven, for example, to make some of these first party kind of exclusive games for them? They're going to build that kind of relationship like a Hideo Kojima thing. There's so many questions, right? Because Haven, one of the biggest first games that they're developing right now is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. I don't know if this is going to be them so much as acquiring them as so much them just, funding them to make an exclusive game for their platform. But a lot of people people are questioning, ooh, what is this going to mean? You know, what kind of game can we see this become? If you look at Assassin's Creed, you look at Watch Dogs, we're thinking of, you know, big open world games, you know, lots of places to go to, probably some form of, you know, abilities, weapons, you know, that I think it's going to be something around that ballpark. You know, will we see some, maybe a mixture of like parkour stuff, you know, being able to run up buildings or wherever world this takes in, you know, how free is it going to be? Quest lines, side quests, there's just probably going to be a bunch of things. It's probably going to be a big game. Looking at the other games that she's helped develop, these were pretty big games, right? So, and probably good stories. I mean, a lot of people love the original Assassin's Creed stories, you know, especially Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. You know, in the Watch Dogs, the first one, second one. I don't know, we talk about the newest one, but I mean, for those that she's worked on, I think she's done a great job for those games. So a lot of people are excited to see what this new game becomes, and I know PlayStation fans are just happy that's gonna be another exclusive. And that's what we have for this week. Now we've covered other videos for other stories, but if there's any specific stories that you guys see that you want us to cover here on 5-9, make sure you can tag 5-9 Gaming Channel, you can tag me, you can tag a bunch of us and let us know, hey, you guys should look into this for your wrap up. I appreciate you guys coming. And again, that's all we have for today. Give us your thoughts down below. Share any stories again that maybe we missed and you want us to see. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you check out all our channels and go to our websites to check out all our personal accounts. And we appreciate it. I'm Lethal1Up, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.